Hi all, welcome to another fly tying video by me, Dave Downey of Fly Fishing World, where I like to bring you videos of flies that are easy to tie and catch fish. That's the whole point, tie flies, catch fish. So today I'm doing something a wee bit different. What I want to do is I want to give you my top 5 flies for the river. Nymphs, we'll do a dry fly one as well, but I'm going to give you my top 5 flies. I'm not guaranteeing this, but I'm telling you that 90% of the time, most of the mistake people make is they have too many flies in their box. Someone gave them one of these that they caught a fish on 10 years ago, or they caught a fish on 2 years ago, or they caught 2 fish or whatever. The thing with fishing, and especially on the rivers, the biggest thing for me is confidence in patterns and having the ability and the confidence to use those patterns. Now, I'll ask you, some people might try it, some people won't. Do these 5 flies, don't fish anything else for the whole year, and I can almost guarantee your catch rate will go up. Right? The only difference I would say is when you're tying the flies, you want to do them in different weights, different size hooks. That's it, just a bigger bead, smaller beads, different size hooks. Have 5 patterns. I've fished with lots of the guys for the World Championships, and to be quite honest, when you see in their fly boxes, it's not a mismatch of stuff, right? And it's very overwhelming to get. You end up with tons of flies. I done it myself when I started. I ended up with tons of these patterns, tons of these patterns. They're all still in the boxes. They never get used. They never see the light of day. I've got 5 patterns, maybe 6, but I'm going to give you my top 5 nymphs for the river. And if you do decide to try it and just use 5 of these for the whole year, I'm going to tell you how to fish them. Get back to me, let me know how it goes, but I'm guaranteeing that you'll probably catch more fish. Alright, so let's get on with it. So here we're going to start. Number 5 on my list. Number 5 is this little guy. A little orange tag. Really versatile. Tie them in smaller sizes with smaller beads. I do like these with a silver bead. And I love that emerald green dubbing on the thorax. And that's just the floss that I've got some floss that I sell, and it's really nice. It's the right colour of orange, and it's really fluffy. You know, it sits out nice. You can use glow bright, you can use what you want, you can change the tag if you like. But for number 5 on my list, this is a guy. Now, as I say, I'd use him on a point when I'm fishing 2 flies, 3 flies. I'll put a smaller one on the top dropper if I think that I want to have a smaller fly and I want a heavier fly on the point, or a different fly in the point. Recently this year, personal experience, I've only been fishing 2 flies an awful lot because that's what everybody kind of double nymph, double nymph, double nymph. Recently I've started fishing 3 again, which is what I always done. I always had a middle dropper, top dropper, point fly, and I'm catching more fish. I'm covering more water. So, you know, and I'm covering more aspects, so I tend to fish 2 weighted nymphs and some kind of shrimp in the middle, and you'll get to that later on. You'll see that pattern I'm talking about. But for me, number 5, great fly, black body, black dubbing, bit of CDC, really simple to tie. There's no other weight in it. It's on a jig hook. Well, this is one of the henge jig hooks that points down the way, so it's not a side on eye. It's a pointy down eye, but yeah, it's just a great pattern, and it's worked everywhere. It worked in Colorado, it's worked in Montana, you know, I've used it in Slovenia, I used it in Bosnia, I've used it everywhere I've been to, Czech Republic, Poland, caught fish everywhere with it, and it really is just quite a simple pattern. The only hard bit's the CDC, the CDC cuts on a dubbing loop, but what I will do is I'll put a link down below on the description, and it will give you a link to all the videos on my YouTube channel that have these patterns on there. So number 5, keep it alive. On to the next one, number 4 coming up very soon. So we get number 4 here. Number 4 is just a little pheasant tail, but it's a little Frenchy type one. It's a hen's. I'm using a hen's thread. It's like it's supposed to be a fluorescent orange, but it's more like a peely wally orange. It's like a yellowy orange. And when you put the black permanent marker pen on the back of it, it kind of bleeds into it and it gives it a sort of dark olive colour. and then there's just a bit of resin over the top. As I said it before, I'm just using the Vineyard's resin or just nail polish resin. Actually, I've got some over here, but I'll grab it quickly. Sorry about that, but it's Premier Gel Nail. Honestly, it's stuff for doing ladies' nails. My daughter has her own company doing ladies' nails, so if you do like, or you want to get your wife a nice present and you stay in the Renfrewshire area, give us a wee shout and I'll give you my daughter's business card. But yeah, she's very good at it. But this stuff I think is better than the fishing stuff, to be honest. Companies aren't going to like that, but that's just the way it is. So all I've done is silver bead or copper bead. This one's on a size 12 Hanak hook. It's a Hanak 405BL, I can't remember the model number exactly. But it's a popular one. And it's just pheasant tail, copper wire rib, cocktail on for the tail, bit of thread, paint the back, and then just epoxy resin over the back and set it. That's it. This again on the bigger sizes on the point. That's what I like about these 5 flies, apart from one. There's only one. The other ones you can move about, you can swap between the droppers or top drop or bottom point, whatever. Just put a heavier bead on it. And it's a great pattern. You know, I've found it works really well, cuts through the water really quickly because of the resin. It's almost like a pheasant tail perdigon. But I mean, I don't really have perdigons in my box. And it says I've just got a box full of these 5. So get that one in your box. That's number 4. So that's just a little pheasant tail, the wee Frenchy pheasant tail that Julian Dagladas gave me. Shh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Sorry, Julian. Just in case any of his teammates give him into trouble. Actually, no, they'll give me into trouble. They'll give him into trouble, but that's just the way it is. So that's the wee pheasant tail. Love that wee fly to bits. It's a cracking pattern. As it says, link will be down below for how to tie that. It's already on my YouTube channel. So let's get on to number 3. We're getting close to number 1, but let's go on to number 3. Give you a wee look at that. I'm pretty sure you have guessed, if you're a subscriber and you've looked at my videos, you'll know what number 1 is going to be. So that's number 4. We're going to number 3 next. Now this pattern is the one I was talking about. This is number 3. So number 3 is a little hotspot hare's ear shrimp. This one's got no lead in it. Sometimes I'll put 1 layer of thin lead, sometimes I'll put 2 layers of lead in it, but usually it's just the 1 or none. And it's just tied with squirrel, and it's got the Yanshiman shell back, which is a cinnamon one, which I like. It's got shiny side, it's got dull side. I tend to tie it to both sides, but out of all my flies in my box, this is the best middle dropper pattern out there. Or you can hang it off, put the heavy fly in the middle, hang that off the tail, get it as close to the bottom of the river as possible. There's days that not just me, Scotland team members, pals who I've gave this pattern to, have went out and nobody else is catching and they catch fish. It's not just a trout pattern, it's a grayling pattern as well. These are all for both species in the river. Obviously in America and other places that there's rainbows available, and the rainbows love it as well. But it's just tied on a curved check nymph hook, and it says squirrel. The wrap is just nylon. I just use the Jackson nylon. Hot orange for the hot spot, and just squirrel. It's so simple and it's so deadly and effective, and that's done with the shiny side on the back, as you can see there. But I love this pattern. It really is one of my favourite flies. I always end up, I tie them up and then they don't stay in the box for very long. And obviously when you're fishing nymphs you can lose quite a lot of nymphs on the bottom, because that's the whole idea, is to get the nymphs on the deck, get them as close to the bottom as possible. Sometimes it's a fine line, you're too heavy, sometimes you're too light, but yeah, it's a great pattern. So this is my number 3, and I'm telling you now, it doesn't matter if you forget about the other 4 flies. See, you stick that wee guy in the middle of your cast, you'll catch more fish, guaranteed. We're getting close to number 1. Now, you might be surprised. I think some people are going to think my number 1's my number 2, my number 2's my number 1, but no. Right, so we're on to number 2 now, and I bet you this number 2 is the one you thought was going to be my number 1, when it's not. My number 1 and my number 2 are probably, well, maybe you did get it right, but anybody that's a subscriber or knows me will think this is probably my number 1 river nymph, but no. So it's the Hares ear rubber leg. Now, this was given to me a long time ago by Simon Cocker, who was Scottish champion twice, been in the world team don't know how many times, really nice guy, one of my best mates, and we spent ages trying to find the rubber legs. They came from I think it was Montana Fly Company originally, pardon me, and Vineyards now, well, I sell them as well, but obviously it's Vineyard ones I sell, but I like the really thin ones because you get so much movement. I mean, even just spinning the vice round there, you can see it's just, there's so much movement, and I love it with a copper bead. I will tie it with silver beads, black beads, gold beads, but I tend not to change. I tend to go with copper most of the time. Tie it with red thread, well, orange, fluorescent orange thread, and it's just squirrel and copper wire rib. Every now and again I'll change the rib to a red rib, or I'll put a wee bit of dubbing, wee bit of orange dubbing behind there, but I always use the brown legs. And this one's got a wee bit extra weight underneath. You can see the cigar shape on it, and that's just to get me down and dirty. Now this pattern is always a point fly for me. I will tie it on a lighter setup. I do it for a specific customer who requests that I tie it on a smaller bead and a smaller hook, and you know, you can use that on the top dropper, but for me I tend to just use it all the time as a heavier nymph, either in the middle with a shrimp, you know, like shrimp hanging off a point, or just a point fly, because that's my anchor. And there's so much movement in it. See when it's bouncing along the bottom of the river, yeah, it's a great fly. But yeah, that's my number 2, and I'm going to show you my number 1 now. Now that we've done that one, because I'm guaranteeing that, I don't know, most of the people will think that was my number 1, but no. Now we're going on to number 1 now. This is number 1, and it's the most simple, easy to tie fly in the planet. It looks crap, it looks nothing, but by God, it's caught me so many fish. It's done so much for me in competitions, whether I'm fishing it in a 3 nymph setup, a 2 nymph setup, or an indicator with just that below it, and fat, you know, deep slow water, shallow fast water, whatever. Just change. I very rarely go big beads on this, you know. That's a 2.8. It's usually a 2.4 or a 2.8 on a 16 or a 14, but as a top dropper pattern, it's just phenomenal, honestly. The amount of fish, and it's usually the bigger fish. It's very, very strange. Usually I get big fish on this, and maybe it's because it's up off the bottom and they think it's rising or whatever, but yeah, and it's so simple. You know, it's cocktail heeling for the tail, pheasant tail, copper wire rib, and then chocolate. Yanshiman UV chocolate dubbing makes a difference on the thorax, right? You can't really see it here, it doesn't do it justice. When it gets wet, you get those bits of UV and they flash through, and it just makes a difference. You know, I've tried it with other dubbings, doesn't work anywhere near as well, but it's a fantastic fly. I remember years ago when I'd done my first trip to Czech Republic, and we went to a tackle shop, and all the guys came into this tackle shop, and lo and behold, there was a guy standing there with long hair and a beard and looked like Jesus. That guy was, in my opinion, the best competition angler, best nicest angler I've ever met. Martin Draws for the Czech Republic. I mean, the guy's just phenomenal. He's got some like 27 medals at the World and European Championships. He's been World Champion, been European Champion. He's done it all, you know, and he now lives in Tasmania. And I'm lucky enough to call him a good friend. You know, the guy drove 4.5 hours just to meet me in Czech Republic a couple of years ago. You know, and you know, that just shows you the mentality and how nice a person he is, and you know how he likes he treats people as friends. But yeah, and he was asked a question, what's the best fly? And his simple answer was pheasant tail. So Mr. Sawyer, thank you very much, because the pheasant tail is the best fly. There's nothing better than it. You could fill your, I'm saying fill your box with these 5 flies, but you could fill your box with five different sizes of pheasant tail. Just fish them all year and I guarantee you're going to catch more fish. As I said at the start of the video, problem is too many people listen to too many other people. They fill their boxes with, let's say, crap or junk. They end up with tons of different flies. I'm sorry, but when you go somewhere to fish, too many flies gives you too much of an option. If you go and fish with just what you've got, you'll catch more fish because you get more confidence in those flies, because you're not going to fill your box full of junk. You're not going to put 10 part. Some people will do it. They'll get a fly, catch a cut of fish on it, next thing 50 flies in their box, all different sizes and different colours. Well, not for me. I'm very simple, hardly any extra flies in a box. To get in my fly box, you need to be a good pattern, and I've got confidence in the 5 flies, and I know I can go and catch fish. The only other one that I was going to add in was the pink shrimp, but that's more for grayling in the winter. This is for a general overall, you know, for the whole season. So I really hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please, please, please give it a try, even if it's only for a wee while. Just go out with a box with just certain flies in it. Don't chop and change. Don't go out with tons of flies to giving you loads of options. And drop me in the comments any messages, tell me how you get on. I'd love to hear your comments, to be honest, because if I had plenty of money, I would just say, I bet you that, but I'm not a betting man, so no luck. I've got plenty of fishing rods, but I'm not going to bet any of my fishing rods. But I'm telling you now, stick to less patterns is better quality and makes more sense. So give it a try. Let me know in the description below, in the comments. Drop your comments in there. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button. Every little bit helps the channel. The more people I can get on the channel, as I said, I'm trying to get up to 10,000 subscribers, and I do appreciate you guys. So enjoy the video, get out there fishing, season started, so take care and happy fishing. Bye for now.